Mr. Speaker, I rise for a point of personal privilege and emotion.
Gentleman may proceed.
Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, I actually enjoyed the speeches in the chamber this morning. It is a good thing for us to come in and talk about problems and issues that face this Commonwealth. We do a really good job of talking to ourselves. It is important to talk to more than just ourselves, however, which is why before the session, like many of you, I held town hall meetings. And at those initial town hall meetings, the people that showed up were concerned about the huge amount of increase in their electric bills. So much so, Mr. Speaker, that I continued to hold these town hall meetings, as I think you know, over the past several weeks all over Southwest Virginia. And Mr. Speaker, the stories that you hear from these people are heart-wrenching. In Roanoke, there was a lady by the name of Sharon Johnson who came to the town hall meeting and said that she turns the thermostat in her house down to 57 and puts on 2 sweaters and a coat in order to be able to afford her electric bill. She says when guests come over, she turns the thermostat up to 59, and that she cannot afford her electric bill. There was a woman in Hardy, Virginia, whose brother was not able to afford the electric bill, and he's been going for months without heat. None at all. He is dependent on a sleeping bag for warmth, and she told me, I'm scared he's going to die of hypothermia. There was the single mother in Bluefield who said she's working 2 jobs, and both of those jobs bring in about $1,100 a month. Her power bill was $650. And I can't figure out how I'm going to pay the power bill and feed these kids and clothe these kids. You know what, though, Mr. Speaker? The people in Southwest Virginia are very proud. While there are a number of folks who would say, well, I'm going to go ahead and use electricity and worry about how I'm going to pay for it. It's not the values of those people. They will do without before they will take something they cannot pay for. And that is what is happening. Which is why, Mr. Speaker, that 2 weeks ago, I thought it was time that the voices of these people be heard, and I asked them to sign a petition. It was a simple petition that talked about the 13 rate increases that Appalachian Power has requested, skyrocketing electric rates, crippling Southwest and Southside Virginia, forcing families to choose, companies laying off workers. We, the undersigned, do beseech the General Assembly of Virginia to pass meaningful legislation to strengthen electric utility regulation, to rein in these excessive rate increases by Appalachian Power. I have these petitions, Mr. Speaker. There were over 5,000 signatures in 2 weeks' time. I'll be sending them to your office, Mr. Speaker. I'm going to send them to the chairman of the House Committee on Commerce and Labor, as well as every member of that committee, and probably the Electric Utility Regulation Commission, and, oh yes, His Excellency, the Governor of this Commonwealth. When are we going to act? I read in just the newspapers this morning, one member said, well, I'd like to see them, Appalachian, take it upon themselves without holding a gun to their head. Another member said, well, if you, Appalachian, don't get your act together as a corporation to ease this burden, the legislature will do it for you. Would someone like to tell me when that's going to happen? These people can't wait. They're doing without now. We have had 60 days. We have passed every manner of bill in this place. But we have neglected to pass meaningful legislation to rein in power bills for a huge portion of this state. You know what, Mr. Speaker, as a parent, if your kid reached into the cookie jar and you said, oh, don't reach into the cookie jar, and then they did it again, you said, now don't reach into that cookie jar, and again, and you never grabbed the child's hand and pulled it out of the cookie jar or spanked him, what type of parent would you be? I'll tell you what type: ineffectual, which is exactly how this legislature has been. If anybody thinks that Appalachian Power is going to voluntarily refund money, let me sell you the Brooklyn Bridge. The truth has a way of seeping out, Mr. Speaker. Let me tell you what I think is going on. We want to try to get out of this General Assembly session doing the least we possibly can to say that we did something. Let's get out of town and let's hope that the people in the Appalachian Power Service District get used to the high bills, and maybe this problem will go away. Let's push it off a year. Let's not deal with it. That's what we're up to. And we wonder why people get upset with politicians. Mr. Speaker, there's one last chance. There was a bill that I asked to be introduced by unanimous consent. It is House Bill 1391. Let me tell you what it does. It provides for what's termed bundling, that is, combining rate petitions into one. Is this going to solve the problem? No, it will not. It is yet another step in the process to address the problem. Mr. Speaker, you referred that bill to the House Commerce and Labor Committee several weeks ago. As every day went by, though, I never got a patron notice. I never got an invitation to come down and present the bill. There was never a vote. It lays there still. Mr. Jefferson was a smart guy on a lot of levels, and one of the things that he did by building into the rules is that this body always has the ability to overrule a committee. That the will of this body, these 100 men and women that sit in here, can overshadow that of a committee. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to do more than we have done. We have to help these people. Mr. Speaker, under Rule 81, I move to discharge the Commerce and Labor Committee and bring HB 1391 to the floor.
Gentleman, Salem, Mr. Griffith, speaking to the motion.
Mr. Speaker, speaking to the motion.
Gentleman has the floor.